What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&B Unsupervised. We apologize that you guys had to go an entire week without hearing from us. We were supposed to go live when we were at Arrowhead.
Whose fault is that?
It was hot, and I had no signal.
Why?
The phone didn't work.
Well, what carrier you got?
Apparently not a good one.
What carrier is that?
AT&T.
Trash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who has signal?
Did
Not
you have
me.
signal? Nah, I didn't have no signal. But we took a lot of videos. We posted them as shorts. They're up on they're on our Facebook page, Undisputed Podcast, which will be changing the name very shortly.
Rebranding the name.
To
kind of help separate a little bit.
But starting off, before we get into that, Brandon picked up a nice little drink for us, Sun Cruiser Iced Tea Vodka.
No bubbles.
No bubbles.
No calories. And it's a classic iced tea flavor, 4.5% alcohol volume. About,
$8 for a 4-pack.
Yeah, about $9, $10 for
definitely
4-pack. It's new, so obviously they'll be coming out with something, a bigger container, but you don't look in your fridge, and it's not a seltzer. So if you're not a big fan of seltzer or like that coconut water kind of flavor, it's very tea-y. And you don't really taste the vodka either. It's very if you don't like sweet tea.
Honestly, this
definitely is a good one because it doesn't have a sweet tea flavor.
Every time he picks out a tea one, I get scared. Ever since Happy Dads, I get scared.
It's definitely smooth. It's honestly, you could probably mix it. You put another mixer in there with it to give it a little bit more of a punch. But it's a smooth, very good tea flavor. I never heard of Sun Cruiser before. Kind of reminds me of like a cruise liner.
Yeah.
But it's not bad, honestly. And they come out with kind of a bigger package of 12 or 8, some different flavors. I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for Sun Cruiser. If you like tea, sweet, especially unsweet tea.
To me, this would be good for a hot day, a cold day. This would
especially the fall season coming around.
Absolutely.
Kind of around maybe a little bit of a fire. It's not bad. Football season's in full swing.
Yep.
Doing some tailgating. It's definitely a good one. It is a 4-pack, so buy 2, buy 3.
Absolutely. Definitely go try it.
4.5% alcohol volume per can out of a 12-ounce can, I do believe. Little skinny tall boy. So
definitely go try it out.
Definitely, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
I said 6 out of 10.
Well, you said 6 out of 10. I kind of like it a little bit more now, so I'll give it a 7.
But definitely one of the better teas that we've had on here, honestly.
Well, it's definitely better than Happy Dads.
Yeah, anything's better than Happy Dads, honestly.
But it doesn't have the multi-flavor like the Twisted Teas have.
Yeah.
It is not as beery flavor,
but
I guess.
Definitely go look for it. Go get it. Try it out. Let us know what you guys think. Real quick, I have to do this. I want to give a shout out. I did lose my grandma last week. So I want to say, rest in peace to my grandma. Funeral's this tomorrow, Friday. So I appreciate everybody that reached out and said their condolences. I appreciate it. It's been a little bit of a tough time. Hasn't really hit yet, but it'll probably hit tomorrow at the funeral. But she had a full life. So I'm glad that she's resting easy now. She's back with my dad, grandpa. So I'm happy for that. They're all back together. But in other news, some more stuff, crazy stuff that happened. I just can't believe shit like this is still happening. We had another school shooting down in Georgia in a high school. I think he was 13 or 14 years old. Shot up his high school. 4 people were killed. 2 students, 2 teachers. And what's even worse about this is he was 14 years old. What's even worse about this, the FBI investigated him not long ago for threats that he made on a Discord. Think about that. You can't say anything homophobically, obviously, and you'll get banned on Discord. But you could talk about having a mass shooting up your school. Nothing. Not a thing.
It's the same way with the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Yep.
The dude was out on, Discord or on social media stating that this dude needs to die. And nothing happened. And he was also interviewed by the FBI, and
to me,
still happened. And then
the fact that we are still,
if you see something, hear something. At this day and age,
say something.
Say something.
Say something, man. Because
the whole entire thing of snitches get stitches is getting is it's a thing. Sure, it's
But
a
we're also
thing,
getting
but,
to a-
like you're saving lives.
But we're also getting to a point where like
What point do
bullying needs to like bullying is being taken a little bit too far nowadays.
Not really. No, in my opinion, what point do we actually arm the security guards at the school? When do we actually teach our teachers how to handle?
Well, some schools
firearms?
actually teachers carry firearms. Some teachers actually
and a lot
carry.
of southern.
And a lot of
states-
people were against it. I'm like, if my teacher, like, to a degree,
If I had children and I was sending them to a school and they're like, oh, by the way, our security guard and teachers, they're armed. Do you know how safe I would feel in the pickup line to pick them up knowing that they're strapped? Dude, I know
We have a lot-
going to mess with
I
you
know a lot of
because you're
schools you have
strapped
like
and you're gonna be
retired,
trained.
retired like servicemen or like dads that will go up protect the school and
Well,
stuff. Now
you know what
have-
would be great is for retired veterans
yeah.
to be at the school.
A lot of
to
schools
be,
have that. Some
it
schools
would be perfect for them. I mean, a lot of
Ain't
them
no-
that when they get out of the armed forces, they do turn towards like the police force. That'd be a perfect place for them to be around children. It's a happy, it's a quiet, generally a quiet place, a good place for them mentally and physically. But they also know how to protect, and that to me, in the day and age, with a lot of what's ramping up, I believe next month is November, October. One of the
November. November is the election. So
the
go out and vote.
Go out and vote. Go out there, do your research. But like, there's some candidates that say that they're pro-gun, but really they want to take your guns and they don't want schools to have guns.
Like we said before, and we'll keep saying it, we're not endorsing either one of them.
buddy.
All we're saying is
But
go
do
out
your
and vote.
research.
Do your research. Go
If
vote.
you want to vote, go vote. And if you stay to Kansas, we go red, but this doesn't mean not to go out there and vote. If you vote blue, go out there and vote blue. Go out there and vote red.
To me,
Let your voice be heard.
To
so
me,
you
I think
have your
this is
opinion
a. To
out
me, I
there.
think this is a very important election. I think it is very vital that you go out and vote. At least do your research.
I think the
to a
biggest
degree.
thing is don't listen to the mainstream media.
No, like do your own research.
Get on there and
Do your
actually
own.
dig into it and
Yeah.
see what's best for you and your family. Not to quote, Patrick Mahomes, but not here to endorse nobody, but like do your own research and support what's best for you and your
Absolutely.
family and what's best for
But
you
I
for
will-
your country.
I will leave it on this. Our condolences go out to the families that were affected by that shooting in Georgia. It's never easy. I just feel like every year, multiple times a year, we hear about school shootings, and honestly, it's sickening. Makes me nervous. I have 3 kids. They go to school now, man. I worry every fucking day. I send my kids to school. It's one of those. I wouldn't say like a fear, but it's a fear at the same time. That
Actually, in high school, I was a part of a couple active shooters.
No, I really. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
they weren't actually students, but
But
there was actually people around the area, and there was actually a couple of students that graduated that threatened to come back to the school.
Damn.
And we were an open campus, and you had to use like an actual badge to get in and out
A
of
lot.
doors.
That's
But after
crazy.
like 10 minutes after class rang, they locked the doors.
Dang.
So you kind of screwed if we outside.
Yeah. But like I said, our condolences go out to the families and everybody that was affected by that event. Moving on to another event, moving on to the football part of things, another incident happened involving Miami Dolphins star player Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Was pulled over for a traffic violation, speeding, going like 50 miles an hour. A simple interaction turned very
Very bad.
very bad. Both parties, I would say, were at fault. Both have a part of being at fault. One probably more than the other.
If you haven't seen the videos, go out there, just look up Tyreek Hill's arrest videos. You'll see it. Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, he was disrespectful to the police officers at the beginning, but that does not in any realm excuse what the police officer did.
Ripping him
by
out of the
ripping
car,
out of the
throwing him
car,
to the ground, then put him in a
put him in the
chokehold,
car, handcuffing him, because he wasn't being
arresting his
abusive or
teammates for doing absolutely nothing.
just walking up being like, hey, this is who this is. But there was a police officer that did put him in a chokehold because
Was
they
the
were
same officer that knocked on his window, that didn't like his attitude, that pulled him out of the car as well. Yeah, definitely a situation that should have definitely been avoided. It should not have been as big as it was. Like I said, it was a traffic violation.
Like he was speeding.
Should have been just a quick ticket.
but not by a whole bunch. And like I said, he was could have. He kind of comes off a little disrespectful, but where it escalated to shouldn't have escalated to.
Yeah.
Let alone being hands put on him, let alone in handcuffs. And well, he's not wrong. What if he wasn't Tyreek Hill? And
Well, the cop didn't even know that he was Tyreek Hill. And to me, it's like,
well, the thing is, you can't be screaming racial discretion because it was a
Hispanic. They were Hispanic.
it was an officer of color.
Yep.
With obviously Tyreek Hill is black, so like you can't be calling color. But like, the dude, honestly, sounded like he was on a semi-power trip.
Yeah, it was not a very good. Like, it all really stemmed from, the cop. And what makes me mad about it is the cop already had Tyreek Hill's driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Tyreek rolled the window up for the simple fact of he is Tyreek Hill. People were recording, watching, privacy. I get it. Cop didn't like that he rolled up his window. His windows were very dark, but at the same time, you don't have to technically keep your window down.
I don't have to allow you inside my vehicle. I don't even have to actually give you my ID. You have to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Like, through the window, but he gave him his information already.
And then Tyreek rolled up the window, and that led the cop to really go on a serious power trip.
The door was unlocked was kind of surprising though, because he popped that door right open.
That cop of the whole incident tried to reach out to Tyreek Hill and apologize. Tyreek Hill wanted them to apologize. Tyreek Hill and his agent and lawyers want that cop removed off the force, but the Miami PD, they're trying to get him reinstated. So I don't see this situation going away. Probably, it'll go away eventually, but it's going to be in the headlines until
somebody like that. I don't think needs to be representing the.
My whole thing about it is this. We talked about this over the week.
They're there to protect and to serve and not to power trip.
Yeah, like at the same time, like you're there to make us feel safe. And I just feel like we live in a world where a lot of people, especially people of color, are afraid of the cops. And And to me, I even say it like white people too are afraid of cops. Like you just don't know like what cop you're getting when you get pulled over. And I'll tell everybody this. Just make sure you have your license, your registration. Keep your hands at 10 and 2. Try to be respectful as you can, regardless of if the cop's being disrespectful or not. That way you can go home in one piece, and that cop can go home in one piece, and you can avoid ending up on the 5 o'clock news. Personally,
said than done most of the time.
But
like, that was a simple traffic stop. The funny thing is, though, a little fun fact: there are some countries overseas that cop cars. They're colorful. They're like red and they're like red and blue, like white and yellow. They're very colorful. They're like rainbow colors. Like they stick out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our cop cars, we have undercover cops. We have like the sheriff car. We have cars
giant ass antennas that think that they're undercover, and you're like
but yet like they're there to serve and protect. But yet we have cars that are trying to blend in, trying to catch people doing wrong when really you should be there to serve and protect.
Yeah, so
there's a little fun fact. If you look up other countries, I think it's Britain, maybe it's Germany. They have or it might be France. They have their cars are like yellow, like they stick out. They're like a taxi. Like if you need help, here we are. We're here to serve you and protect you.
I just think we're in a point now where I'm not gonna stand up here and say defund the police and stuff like that, because you need the police to help protect. But I do think that our police officers need to have a little bit more training than what they get. I will say that. I think they need to have a little bit more training to be able to handle certain situations when you're dealing with veterans or dealing with people of mental illness, and we're not having to always wake up every morning on the news or on social media seeing something go down because some cop decided he wanted to take it the extra mile, or a person wanted to take it the extra mile.
I personally think, since you brought up, veterans, I think a great career change path for a lot of, armed forces, people that are getting out of the armed forces that don't want to be a part of it, but a good transition for them to still be able to kind of serve and protect, have that feeling,
have that purpose.
If they are mentally, obviously, stable and pass the test, and not kind of snub the test, but pass, the mental stable test. Because some people do come back with PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is the thing, but I think they should be the first in line.
There are some people that come back that, like, when they get out, they don't know what their purpose is. That would be a great change. Be able to still help the community, give back. Absolutely.
It's the same thing. You're front in line, putting your body on the line, your life. I think there should be something that, and all 50 states. That should be something that should be forefront on that most of our
Especially they come
officers,
in with the top-notch training.
well, they also know how to handle
situations
like that situation with him. They would have been disescalated. They'd be like, okay, well,
you've
calm
seen
down.
a lot of situations with veterans that become cops that de-escalate situations. The cops like, no, I got this. I know how to de-escalate this.
If that was a former armed forces of any source, Navy, military, whatever.
I don't think he would have got to that point.
He'd be like, okay, just calm down. He would have calmed everything. Tyreek Hill and the Cowboys just calm down. We just handle this, and it would have been a lot smoother transaction because they are trained to do that, and they're also you would have less shootings. You have less deaths because they're trained to kill, but they're also not trained to kill. They know where to shoot. We're not.
Well, they're also taught like tactical pinpoint tactical training. You know, pressure points and stuff like that to be able to take you down without
injuring
you.
Yeah, so process. Like Tyreek Hill literally said, "I just had surgery on my knee. I have recent surgery."
Which nobody knew. It was actually came out that he had some stem cells.
That's where you go get that stuff done overseas. So it's not FDA approved over here in the States. And the officer just went, put him in a chokehold.
So, like I said, when you get pulled over, just try to do your best to keep your emotions under check because it's just better if you keep your...
don't know who's walking up to
you. Yep, pretty much. And so, but moving into the football stuff, there was a lot of stuff that went down. We're going to start with, we were in Arrowhead for Thursday Night Football. My man, Brandon here, had us some fucking amazing seats. We were 5 rows from the fucking end zone, dude. I literally got to see Travis Kelce up close, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Pacheco, Worthy, Juju, all of them. Like, I was in a fucking trance, dude. Like, I had the time of my life, and I told him this already. Like, dude, that's a once in a lifetime. I can't sit nowhere else but there. Like, he fucking ruined me, dude. Like, I got to sit there. But it was great to see that game in person. Like I said, we weren't able to go live, unfortunately, and we apologize for that. We're working on getting better equipment. We're getting better. We're getting there. But took a lot of videos. We posted them on, like I said, our Facebook page. We uploaded them as shorts on our YouTube channel, obviously. But it was great to see the game up close in person. It was a great game.
It was. By a toe.
By a toe. And I want to address the Ravens fans that say that we cheated. I don't know if we could have paid Isaiah Likely enough money to step out of bounds to lose the game. But if you guys think that Lamar thinks it was a touchdown, even though, like...
He still says it was a touchdown.
He stands on that. It was not a touchdown. But it was a game. But honestly, like, the Chiefs played a very subpar game. Wasn't their best game. Kind of through the motions. Lamar missed some serious throws. They didn't play Derrick Henry the final drive in that fourth quarter.
Derrick Henry didn't get enough carries in my opinion.
Well, John Harbaugh came out and said that that's not why we brought Derrick Henry in here. We did not bring him in here to run the ball like that. So why did you bring Derrick Henry? Because Derrick Henry is not a guy that's going to catch out of the backfield and stuff like that. Lamar Jackson definitely ran for his life. That offensive line... problems.
Very big problem.
Very big problem.
And they let they did that. They let the offensive line walk in this offseason, so they have a very...
They had a running back trying to guard Chris Jones.
Yeah, Justin Hill was on the final play. He was doing his best, but Lamar definitely navigated that pocket very well. I do have to ask, though, on Lamar, what would you grade him on a scale of, A+ to F? What would you grade his performance last Thursday?
Last Thursday. Honestly, I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but I'd probably say C+. Because he missed a lot of open throws. Well, he had a lot of rush yards, but that was because... late in the game.
Half, though.
Yes.
Because in the first half, he stayed in the pocket and navigated it. But I feel like after halftime...
That first drive they had, after that, it was subpar drives. Like, the offensive line, like, a lot of his rushing yards, people are like, oh, he rushed for, over 100 yards.
He rushed or scrambled 16 times, and now he's on the injury report, and everyone's like, and he's smaller. He slimmed down. He lost a lot of weight.
Not
sustainable, especially behind
especially when you bring in Derrick Henry, and we thought for sure at the game, obviously Chiefs fans, but we have this, so we have to analyze both sides.
I so expected so much RPO out of them. And I expected pound Henry, and then a little RPO of who's going to keep
we didn't get that.
It. You dive on Henry, bam, there goes Lamar. Where was Likely? Where was Bateman? on the
Zay
on
Flowers?
RPO, or honestly, Zay Flowers on RPO reads on a slant or a go.
There
and
was just some drops, some
pounding
missed throws. Honestly, probably a C plus is a little. I would say like
I would
fringe
give him,
B.
I would
Fringe
give
B.
him a B plus. I thought he played a great game. I thought he played honestly the best ball I think I've ever seen him honestly play from end to end. And the reason why it's a B plus is because he did miss big throws. He missed
did.
at the very end. He apparently thought Bateman was that throw he missed Zay Flowers. He was apparently throwing it to Bateman and completely missed Bateman.
And Zay was wide open, like it was a blown coverage by Kansas
That to
City.
me, like quarterbacks, you can't make every throw because people say, well, that's not Lamar's game. Lamar's game is not. He's not like a precision thrower. He's a runner, but he's also above average.
But
thrower.
you notice he only really tries to do this stuff that he does when he plays Kansas City. Like I'm not saying that. Well, I'm not saying that we're rent free in his head, but we're rent free in Lamar Jackson. He's
Well,
1-5 against Kansas
yeah.
City. He's 1-5. Every time he plays Kansas City, he tries to go toe to toe with Patrick. And like you said, that's not your game. And I'm not saying Lamar can't throw because he can throw.
It's been proven that Lamar's a good passer, but when it comes down to crunch time, it seems like it comes even in the playoffs. It seems like even Granite
tries to-
Jones in the playoffs got in his pocket to force a bad throw.
He waits too long to make the right read. Like
Well,
he
that
sees
could
it.
That could honestly be maybe his weapons, but last year was probably the best weapons he's ever had.
Yes.
But he did hit Isaiah Likely, but if he hit Isaiah Likely with maybe a little bit sooner pass, or maybe a little better pass, maybe he gets those big ass feet in
Speaking
bounds.
of the Ravens, there's one person we need to talk about that we both was watching that we feel like didn't look right. Mark Andrews. First
He was
time.
playing left tackle.
Like, I know-
It was blocking on the D
I know
line.
fantasy owners were furious watching Mark Andrews play
I
left
picked
tackle.
him up in my fantasy league. I picked up Isaiah Likely. He's now my starting tight end. Dude,
But like Mark, to be honest, though, Mark Andrews didn't look right. He just didn't look right to me, and to me that's a big concern.
Well, yes and no, because Isaiah Likely's coming on, which is great to have another ascending tight end with Mark Andrews. But Mark Andrews is that dude. He is that stud.
He's coming off that.
He's a
that
budding kind of Travis Kelce type dude. He knows where to sit.
Mark
He's great
Andrews
at
is
reading
supposed to be the
defenses.
second best tight end in the league, but watching him last Thursday,
Well, considering they had him blocking,
it didn't look good.
That's questionable considering that he was supposed to be healthy coming off that ankle injury that he came back from
Yes.
last year into the playoffs. But I'd give, like I said, I'd give Lamar a B plus because he did miss the big throws and he did not make the plays when it mattered most. What would you give Mahomes on the grade?
Honestly, like C plus.
I'll give Mahomes again a B plus just because again.
I think it was like
he
kind
missed-
of like through the
He
motions
missed
type
the
of game.
Well, our offense looked. Honestly, I thought our offense looked great, but I'm harder on my own team because I think I have to be, unbiased.
That's
He-
why I said C plus
if
because
he
like
was-
it wasn't.
Well, that's really rough because Mahomes had a great game. He had one interception.
Where the
That was a
fuck was he
bad
throwing that
read.
ball?
It was a bad read, but if
He did have a catch though. He got tipped.
which was honestly huge at the end of the day because they kept the clock running.
Yes.
But if he gives a better ball to Pacheco, we're not talking about
that
stuff.
running back that we picked up that used to be from Cincinnati. He
Vernon?
dropped that would have been a touchdown.
That was Pacheco.
That was Pacheco.
That was Pacheco.
Ah,
Pacheco was in and he threw a little low.
Juju also dropped a
He also got
touchdown.
touchdowns. That's 14 points. So it's really funny to me when one of the Ravens players said that this is the best that the Chiefs have.
Isaiah Likely said that. He said,
They're-
"Good luck in the playoffs."
They're
I'm like,
going to
buddy,
playoffs. I'm like, you do realize our defense held you to 21 points.
20
and
points.
And our offense, who is way better than last year. I'm like, okay, cool. It was week one, but that's why I know we.
Well,
we
Isaiah
will
Likely also
reach
said he
fresh.
goes, "I think this is the worst game that we're going to play all year." You can't say this is week one, bro. You
But
can't
that's
say
great,
that.
though. That sets the standard to know that look, we can't be worse than this. Which they weren't bad. It was a
No.
great game, wire to wire. It was a great game to be there. The atmosphere at Arrowhead,
Was
being there to watch them drop the
insane.
banner. Like if you've never been to an opening day Chiefs game, if we do 3P, you gotta try to be there. You gotta try to be there. If it's not,
Yes.
if it's not in the game, tailgating. The fans are great. Even the opposing fans at tailgating is great.
Oh yeah, it's like that's what I love about football. Like when you come, at least for me, what I saw, like Chiefs fans were really cool with the Ravens fans. Like everybody interacted. Like it was cool. It was great to see. Like I said, I had the time of my life, dude. It was a memory that I'll never forget. Like that was incredible to me for me Honestly, like I said, he ruined it. I can never sit no more than row 5. Like I can't do it. Like
You got
I
to see
said,
the Hall of Fame.
yeah, I got to see
You
the
gotta
Hall of
see
Fame.
Super Bowl jerseys. And
I
cleats
did.
and
Like I
gloves.
said, I took all kinds of pictures. Like I was feeling myself. But like I said, it was a great game. Chiefs got that win, starting 1-0. Moving on, we got to talk about some players that got paid. Brandon Ayuk remained with the 49ers. He did play week 1. We'll get to that in a minute. Brandon Ayuk got paid 4 years, $120 million. I don't remember what that is per year off the top of my head.
4 for 2020?
4 for 120. I think it's like 20. Let's see what do we got.
Oh, other way around.
Other way around. Let's see what do we got.
Divided by 4, so it's $30 million.
He got $30 million per year. It was the deal that they offered him all along in all reality, but he stayed with the 49ers. He got paid, so that's good for 49er
I
fans.
think $30 million for Brandon Ayuk is about right when you look at the top pay wide receivers.
Absolutely.
I think it's about right for how young he is and how kind of just
Considering the 49ers just keep seeming to find money from whatever bank that they're using.
Considering they did turn
Right around and paid Trent Williams 3 years, $82.6 million. From my understanding, they just gave him an extra year. He had 2 years,
but guaranteed.
but they guaranteed
money.
that and then gave him the extra year. So Trent Williams came
Best
back.
left tackle in the league got paid.
Yes, he
Again.
did. And then another dude that got paid that I have a lot of problems with for the simple fact of Jalen Ramsey got paid 3 years, $24.1 million, making him the highest paid corner in the National Football League for the second time in his career. And I just don't know.
124.
3 for 24.1. He got 3 years, 24.1 million. 24.1.
Okay.
That's what Jalen Ramsey got.
So you got $24 million a year. So he's getting paid $24 million a year over every year for 3 years.
It's for 3 years. So he's now the second. He's the
Yeah,
highest paid
he's not even
corner
the best corner in the league.
and this is the second time in his career that he's been the
And
highest
he's
paid
an older
corner.
corner.
He's an older corner.
They got burnt in the Super Bowl with the Rams.
He did. If it wasn't for Aaron Donald getting to Joe Burrow, we could be having a different conversation right now about Joe Burrow being a Super Bowl champion, which
That'd be a completely different.
would really hurt me. But
That'd be a completely different conversation for the Bengals.
but I think the contract that we really need to talk about that's got a lot of us in shambles right now is the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones came to.
just great money, just great, dude. I love it. Like that's,
They paid Dak
Yes.
4 years,
Oh, yeah.
$240 million, $231 million guaranteed. $9 million is not guaranteed to that contract, which is crazy. He's the highest paid player in the league, quarterback at $60 million per year. This man's got 2 playoff wins. He's never been to an NFC Championship. He doesn't even know what a fucking Super Bowl looks like outside of what it looks like on TV when the Kansas City Chiefs are in it. But shout out to Jerry Jones, man. Like, overpaid. I'm not going to say Dak's overrated, but he's definitely overpaid.
No, he's overrated.
Well, he's
if
overrated.
You're overpaid, you're overrated.
Well,
Because if you're going to be overpaid, you have to be overrated. Just because you play for quote unquote what some people still consider American.
Okay, so let's
team.
think about this. So, Dak is the highest paid quarterback.
Yep.
Overrated.
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence is number 2.
Overrated.
Overrated. Joe Burrow. He's got 5 playoff wins. Joe Burrow has 5 playoff wins. Dak's got 2. Trevor's got 1. So we have to really consider, a lot of things here when it comes to these quarterbacks getting paid, man. Like, you have Tua at 53, overpaid, overrated to a degree as well. So, and Tua doesn't even have any playoff wins. Joe Burrow's got 5.
No,
Trevor's got 1. Tua's got 0.
It's very simple. Is any of these quarterbacks better than Patrick Mahomes?
Nope.
If you had to start a franchise from scratch, you get to pick any quarterback or any player in the league.
At quarterback, I'm taking Patrick.
No, you're not taking any of these quarterbacks over Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick is like the 9th highest paid quarterback in the league right now. He's tied with, I think,
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins. So,
Like, you can take
But
these guys that are above this.
think about this. What did you say that he was going to possibly get on the open market if the Cowboys didn't pay?
65.
Dak could have got $65 million on the open market.
On the open market would have started to rate at. And they just paid CeeDee Lamb to be the second highest paid wide
At
receiver.
$34 million per year.
And Micah is now next due after coming in next year is his last year on his 5th year deal.
And he wants to be the highest
paid non-quarterback
in the
on
league.
average, which means beating $35 million by Jetta currently, unless you win the bet. And
so speaking of another guy, there's 2 players in the league right now that are currently still looking for a contract. Hassan Reddick for the New York Jets, still looking for a deal. He's lost over like $5 million in fines and stuff like that. He's still holding out, and I don't know if they're going to get a deal done anytime soon. That seems like He's
lost like what was it?
$5 million. I think it's like $5
million. $800,000 per game.
Yeah. So I don't know what the Jets are doing. You traded for the guy from Philadelphia, knowing that he wanted a new deal, and you're like, nah, we're not giving him a new deal. So what was the fucking point of trading for him? But the real talk is Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase is, like we said before, came out and said he wants $40 million per year. Then it came out, there was a report he wants to make a penny more than Justin Jefferson. Then he came out and said that's not accurate. The Cincinnati Bengals did offer him a contract, 4 years, $140 million, which would give him $35 million per year, $90 million guaranteed, but they wanted to push the guaranteed money back to like 27, 29 because the owner doesn't really have the money, the guaranteed money to give him right now.
To be able to pay him, and obviously
Ja'Marr Chase turned it down, said it wasn't enough. Didn't like how they were doing the guaranteed.
Because the guaranteed was going to kick in around 2027 for his current deal, and the new deal kind of combined. It sounds kind of like that's why he turned it down, but then he said, well, the $35 million a year wasn't enough.
He wants to be the highest paid.
And it can't be by opinion. He wants more. There's talks that's going to be like, he wants 40. I don't even know if he's even a top 5, let alone top 7. He's probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league. But if you're like a fringe
he's
10,
between 7 and 10. You can make a case.
If you're
7
a fringe top 10 wide receiver, you're not on Jetta or CeeDee Lamb's level. I don't care what kind of stats you have. You've been injury prone.
My thing is, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals,
and he's 2 years left from being paid.
Yeah, he's got 2 years left on his deal.
This year, and then next year's really his contract year. So I'm really trying to make me pay you extra early for no reason.
If I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I look very hard about maybe thinking about the possibility of trading. I know you guys are not going to like that, but I think you have to really think about that because you pay him this type of money. You're not. I don't think you're going to compete this year. Personally, you're not competing for a long time. Well, think about all the talent that has walked out of that stadium, off that team, because of having to pay Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase saying the things he does. T. Higgins, their franchise team, they haven't even talked to him about a deal. So
that's my thing is, I'd rather pay T. Higgins probably like $30 million a year versus trying to reset the market for Ja'Marr Chase when you have both 2 number 1 guys. Like,
so
if those dudes were team players, you could have paid T. Higgins a 3-year, 4-year deal, up front the money, turned around on his Ja'Marr Chase's 5th-year deal, paid him, back-ended it, and you could have paid Joe Burrow, obviously, and you could have then moved off of T. Higgins and then had Ja'Marr Chase there, now getting paid when you move off of T. Higgins, which would have been a perfect world for the Bengals. But Hickerson, he also wants to pay for the Bengals, and he wants out, and so he wants to be paid or he wants out, which he could potentially, I don't know if he's coming in the last year of his deal or not, but he could be on the move next offseason. The Bengals are coming.
Cincinnati Bengals have a lot of decisions they need to make, and they need to be very careful about
Arrowhead this Sunday at 3 o'clock, 3:25 p.m. our time. And you know what? Honestly, if they come here and they look like how they looked against the Patriots, and
which we'll get into that. We're going to get into that.
We whoop them. Honestly, season's over. They're not. The locker room is so fractured, and then the team that you say that you're neck and neck with, whoop you or beat you at quote unquote Burrowhead, dude, it's done. It's done. It's a season. It's a wrap for the Bengals. It will be obviously a competitive season, but they'll already be 0-2 in a very strong division. With the Steelers somehow being 1-0.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. So, real quick, before we get to week 1, I want to talk about some of the key injuries that we have in the league right now. Not really a key injury, but the 49ers first-round pick, Ricky Parsons, was shot in the chest in an attempted robbery of his rollie after doing a meet and greet with some fans. But he's on IR for 4 weeks. He is fine and good spirits. He was very upset that he couldn't play week 1. He's ready to
Kept his
play.
Rolex, though.
Think about this. Ricky got shot and he's ready to play, and Michael Thomas literally stubbed his toe a couple years ago and has never played ever since again.
He's
so
never been the same.
Never been the same. So
He's a free agent.
biggest downfall in NFL history, personally. But shout out to Ricky. Glad he's great. I can't wait to see him actually get
That was
on.
actually like an autograph signing.
It
too,
was
which is
like,
crazy.
and my whole thing is like, I get he's a rookie, but where was the security at to protect an asset like that? He was a first round pick. I don't care what number you were. He was a first round pick. Like, to me, that's a big letdown on the 49ers. But again, I'm glad he's good, in good health, and he's looking like he'll be ready to go after 4 weeks. He is on IR.
Yeah.
Another key injury for the San Francisco 49ers that's got fantasy owners in shambles right now. Christian McCaffrey has Achilles tendonitis and a calf injury. He was out week 1, going to be out week 2.
The injury stems all the way back to last year,
Yes.
around week 16, week 17.
And he played
Being
the whole
reported by
fucking
Adam
play.
Schefter,
He played the whole fucking
and
play.
he played those weeks and played through the whole entire postseason and in the Super Bowl. And it was like, oh, he's a little injured, maybe like his leg or his ankle or something. But
This
like you
is
said,
a
it's-
very
now it's tendonitis, and that's nothing to really like take
Play around with.
over very like likely. And I don't know. I mean, Mason looked good for the Niners, but that's no McCaffrey though.
No.
And if I'm a fantasy owner, dude, I'm upset, especially if I didn't land.
Especially because probably a lot of people took him number 1 overall if you had the first overall pick.
Top like 3, top 5.
So,
definitely.
But again, I'm not a 49ers fan, but I like seeing Christian McCaffrey play. I wish him well, get back on the field. I don't like seeing our stars out because I want to see everybody at full strength.
But honestly though, like
This is a big.
he
This
could
is
be out for a long time.
This could be-
nursing that because if Mason can fill in and do good enough.
Yep.
Because they have their weapons. They have Kittle. They have Ayuk. They have
They did.
Debo.
Yep.
They have the left tackle back. So I mean, really, he could potentially sit out about half the season. Come back halfway through, be really fresh for the playoffs.
If I'm the 49ers, I definitely
If they
you can't
manage
rush
it
this
that way.
Yes.
Because again, he's the best back in the league. I mean, he's paid that way, and he is that good.
Another unfortunate key injury, Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. He was just paid in the offseason. He's going to be out 3 to 6 weeks. They did not put him on IR, leg injury, MCL.
It's a knee.
It's a knee. They're expecting him to be back around that 3 weeks, so they did not put him on IR. But no Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers for 3 to 4 weeks is a huge blow.
Considering it was the second to last play of the
game.
in
So-
Brazil when they played
Yep.
the Eagles.
So speaking of the that game was Friday in Brazil, September 6th. Eagles, Packers. The Eagles ended up winning that game 34-29. Saquon Barkley, thank you, my guy. You carried
For
my
fantasy
fantasy team,
owners.
even though I lost. You carried me. I appreciate you, Giants organization. You're an idiot.
Well, they paid Daniel Jones. They're
You're
good.
stupid.
They're good. They're good.
Fire everybody in the front office. You have no idea what you're
They
doing.
did. They
But all in all, the Packers, like Jordan Love, did look really good. He made
did.
some great throws. The
He
offensive
did.
line looked great. We said in the beginning when he got paid, could he make the players around him better? And I think he is making some of the guys around him better. He does have Josh
or
Jacobs.
could you say those players are ascending? And
They could be
becoming
ascending.
stars because they were very young when he got there. They drafted a lot of good,
So-
young, talented
Packers with Jordan Love out. Malik Willis will be the starter for week 2. I don't know how well we're going to get to week 2 in a minute, but not good for the Packers. Eagles look good for the most part.
offensively.
They got there was a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, but they got it going once they got it going. That field over there in Brazil was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. To me, if we're going to send our players and teams over to these other countries, which are all for branding the game, growing it globally, we got to put these guys on better field conditions. That was
an actual football
that was a
field.
soccer field. Though that field's not. He knows he's a soccer player. That field is not meant to handle football players trying to stop and cut on a dime. We saw players literally, whoo, there they win.
They
Like
were just tearing that field up.
but another, so that game, like I said, Eagles won. And let's go through the week 1 matchups. We had the Steelers and Falcons. The Steelers ended up beating the Falcons. Justin Fields was the starter for the Steelers. Didn't score any touchdowns, but got them in field goal range. They won 18-10.
Did he get down the field range or the defense?
Well, the Falcons
Because-
didn't look all that great offensively.
Well, when you go against that Steelers defense with TJ
Somebody
Watt.
told Kirk Cousins it was prime time. Like, they didn't tell him it was Sunday.
Well,
like,
someone mentioned something about Kirk Cousins' like footwork was off. It was different. He always had kind of like a sprinter stance and shotgun, but they didn't really run a lot of like offense like Kirk Cousins normally, because Kirk Cousins doesn't do a lot of under shotgun. He has a lot more, or under center. He does a lot more in shotgun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of
there's a lot of filling out
unorthodox
process.
stuff for the Falcons, and
They got a lot to figure out offensively.
shocked for sure that they lost to the Steelers,
Yeah.
16-10
Or 18 to 10. 18 to 10.
18-10.
So, Kirk Cousins didn't look good. Kyle Pitts finally got in the end zone, though. Got some touchdowns.
He did wide open.
But let's talk about the Steelers. Russell Wilson is not going to be the starter for week 2 in Denver. Justin Fields is going to carry that. What were your overall thoughts on the Steelers' Justin Fields' performance? What would you rate Justin Fields' performance?
I would say Justin Fields' performance was subpar. It was, I think, probably less great or less of a performance than what he put on for the Bears when he was with the Bears last year. If Russell Wilson is healthy and ready to go, I don't like him getting the start.
You want to see Russell Wilson as
I don't
the
like
starter?
the start over Russell Wilson. I think
Okay.
Russell Wilson could command the offense better. The connection between Justin Fields and Pickens is very interesting.
Yep.
But you didn't score a touchdown. You didn't put up points. If the kicker misses field goals, we're talking about a different story here, but you have one of the better kickers in the
Yep.
National Football League
So-
and
I mean, like
all.
we said, we were never worried about their defense. TJ Watt, that
the Steelers
defense.
always bring a stout defense, and honestly, like the Steelers, like all you gotta do is just don't turn the ball over. And Justin Fields, he did turn the ball
nope.
over, and like he used that.
He made the necessary plays when he needed to make them
and
to get them to
into
move them.
field goal range.
Yes.
I guess. For me personally, I think Justin Fields has played. He's played a lot of ball. He played since he was a rookie with the Bears, but I think he just needs to sit and watch, analyze, and be actually kind of coached by an actual organization, by an actual Hall of Fame head coach, and
Which he's got.
potentially a Hall of Fame
And Russell
QB in Russell Wilson, but a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson to learn and study the game. That's why I think he needs to sit and learn, because the offensive line for the Steelers is like way better than last year, but needs to be better and could be better. Like it could be, but I still think if Russell Wilson is actually healthy with that calf, he should be the start. But maybe he's not quite ready to go because he's been dealing with
Okay.
it.
The other game that we had was Cardinals and Buffalo Bills. Buffalo won that game 34-28. The controversy coming out of this game, Kyler Murray said it's not his job to give Marvin Harrison the ball.
Yeah, it's the coach.
It's
He
coach.
says
And
that-
I got a little problem with that because the last time I checked, Kyler Murray, you the motherfucking quarterback, bro. Like, Arizona, get your quarterback in check, bro. Like, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard from a guy that's quote unquote supposed to be your franchise guy at the
Well,
quarterback
they
position.
paid him like the franchise. Well, it doesn't look like it now, but paid him as the franchise guy.
Marvin Harrison Jr. had 3 targets, 1 catch,
And it was
55 total snaps.
wide open
Been-
in the last play.
Could have had the game
Well,
game winning type of
if you
touchdown.
went for 2, then yeah.
Not spending too much time here. Josh Allen.
But on the game, the Cardinals had the first kickoff
Yes.
return for a touchdown in the new kickoff format,
Yes.
which was great. It's big. Every team, on average, teams are starting 10 yards. They're starting around the 35-yard line versus the 25.
Yep.
So far out of week 1, it's been a success.
Buffalo, Josh Allen, dark horse MVP, right? Dark horse MVP.
I thought Josh Allen.
They erased a 17-point deficit. So
I think Josh Allen's going to groom his Shakir and
Coleman.
and Keenan and Coleman. I think he's really going to bring Coleman along, but
Curtis Samuel, hopefully bring him along. He was injured a little bit, so
and I think he's going to bring and Cook along. I think he's going to bring his young core with him. And I think you're going to see kind of a Patrick Mahomes-esque kind of year with him, where he's bringing a young core along, and he's going to have to shoulder more of the load. But I think he is definitely a dude that can do it for the Bills, and it's a great week 1 win.
next game we had up was Titans-Bears. The Bears ended up beating the Titans, not because of their offense,
Not at all.
because of their special teams, defense. To be fair, Caleb Williams is the first rookie quarterback, I think, since 2002 to actually win his rookie debut.
As a number one overall
As
pick.
a number one overall pick, and he only threw for 92 yards.
92, 94 yards.
So, like I
average
said,
like 3 or 4 yards per pass.
it was
in.
definitely not the type of offense I thought we were going to see. But again,
It's not what I expected out of the number one overall pick with all those weapons
Yes.
for sure. And when the Tennessee Titans head coach comes out to the media and says, if we just would have punted every down, we
would have won.
I feel like we would have won. We were playing
So-
great defense. That's tough because they didn't even have 200 yards total offense. And I get it, it was the first game, but when you have the talent that the Bears have offensively,
You expect-
and a way better offensive line than last year. And with the number one overall pick and Caleb Williams, everybody says, is the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, the next coming of the best quarterback. I expected more than 92, 94 yards passing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't care about stats. We
Yep,
care
that's
about
what he said.
wins.
He cared.
They got the dub, but he's going to have to definitely
he's got to
show
be
up
better
this coming weekend.
The other game we had was Patriots and Bengals.
Oh,
Patriots won that
shit.
game 16-10. Obviously, like we said before, Joe Burrow didn't look good. Jamar Chase had 6 catches for I think 60 yards. I think it
Yeah,
was.
something
Wasn't
like
it?
that.
Wasn't great. He was
Higgins
asked.
didn't play.
T. Higgins didn't play. He was a game time scratch. Jamar Chase was asked in the locker room about his touch. He said, as Zach Taylor, very immature like. Personally, in my personal opinion, some people might agree with that, but I think it was immaturity. Joe Burrow, there's videos of Joe Burrow moving that wrist, could pick up the water bottle. That's not good because there was only a 30% chance that this surgery would be effective. It's a very...
He didn't have a very, when the surgery was done on his wrist, the return rate on what it was done and how it was looking wasn't overly high. And there's some videos out there of him with a water bottle, and we've all kind of picked up stuff kind of funny. We're kind of like, oh shit, that kind of hurts.
But he's been out there
But
moving.
when he's out on the field throwing the ball, he's kind of playing with his wrist. But it is a
like you said,
repaired wrist.
Like you said, if
And so
Bengals
it
come
takes
into
time
Arrowhead
to
week
get used
2
to it,
and they get stumped, season's over. It's a wrap.
I really do think with all the drama that's in that locker room, and you're coming to Arrowhead or Burrowhead for you Bengal fans, you're coming to us, and if it's a close game and the Chiefs pull it out, maybe not. But if get thumped, kind of I feel like the Patriots kind of thumped you because you.
It may have been 16-10, but Doc, you got you weren't supposed to lose to the Patriots.
You weren't supposed to lose, and 16-10 is kind of a thumping to a Patriots offense that doesn't really have any weapons, and they have Brissett there as their QB throwing to really nobody. So if you lose to the Chiefs and you get thumped, the season's over. The Bengals fans, you'll win games. You get probably 8 wins, but you ain't going into the playoffs. And
next game up was the Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, back foot throw, 60-yard bomb. Arm looked good.
Dude got an arm.
Expecting big things. They did lose in a close one, 29-27. Houston getting the victory. Subpar game by C.J. Stroud. Wasn't the best overall offensively best game for the Houston Texans, but they were able to pull it out. But the biggest takeaway...
Great games.
But the biggest takeaway for me in this game, AR... You see the potential, the arm looked good, the arm talent. We didn't see that shit at Florida.
Well, the biggest thing is that he had shoulder surgery.
Yes.
And a lot of people question his mechanics and how the arm looked.
Mechanical looked good.
The dude almost fell down and threw the ball 60 yards without really
off his back foot.
So his arm
excited
is
to see
healthy, and as long as he can stay healthy, I'm very.
The Colts is a team I'm big close
keep an eye on the Colts.
Next game up, we had the Jags Dolphins. Dolphins won 20-17 against Jacksonville. And if you look at the stats in this game, you would have thought the Dolphins blew the Jags out the fucking door. And that is not the case.
No.
It's not the case. Dolphins escaped with a win on this one. I'm not going to harp too much on this game. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great game by no means. Evan Ingram had 1 catch. That's what?
Considering he's one of your top 3 options.
Like I said, if you go look at the stats from that game, you would have thought Miami blew them out. Tua had massive yards. Tyreek Hill had massive yards. Running back had massive yards, and it was a 3-point game. So the next game up, Panthers and Saints. It was a fucking massacre. 47-10. My man here is already dubbing Bryce Young as a bust.
Yeah.
Like, it's not looking good. Not looking good. You should have drafted C.J. Stroud. That's what he said.
Well,
you probably should have
you
drafted
can't-
C.J. Stroud.
Sometimes you just can't help the organization you get drafted to. Whether
Well,
or not
it
you
was
could
a
have been-
rumor that the wife said draft Bryce Young. So,
Well,
but Derek Carr had the best game of his career. He had like 3 touches at halftime. That was probably the greatest game Derek Carr's ever played in his life. So shout out to Derek Carr.
I just know if you started Derek Carr in your fantasy league, you're happy.
And then next game up, we had the Vikings and Giants. The Vikings won 28-6.
Daniel Jones, you're so sad.
Daniel Jones, we agree, shouldn't not even be a backup quarterback. He shouldn't be
I
a
don't
starter.
know how he's even a first-round pick, to be honest. At this
Like, he's
point.
thrown more pick sixes than he has touchdowns since he signed his contract extension.
That's
so you
crazy.
know.
That's a crazy stat that I don't want to own that. stat.
Next game up, we had a division rivalry: Raiders Chargers. Chargers won 22-10. Devontae Adams probably going to figure out how the fuck to get out of the Las Vegas Raiders. That's all I got to say.
Adams probably wants out, but honestly, Chargers don't have offensive weapons, but I think they have an identity though. Round and pound. I
Yep.
think
That's
behind
the
O-line-
hardball way. It's the hardball way.
Behind the O line with the 2 running backs they have, I think a ground and pound, and hope that defense try to keep the defense not gassed.
Yeah.
They are an older front 7. So keep them not gassed. That Chargers defense could be hanging around there.
Next game up, we had Broncos and Seahawks. Seahawks did win that game
Good
26-20. Bo Nix.
He look honestly, mate, help me. Help me. If I'm Bo Nix, offense line, help me. My skill position players, help me. Is what Sean Payton even said. Like, we just gotta help the guy. Like, I mean, they were there at the end.
People try to come at Bo Nix. His teammates came out and to his defense. Seattle did get a great win. Kenneth Walker had a big game rushing the ball. I'm going to pay close attention to the Broncos just for Bo Nix. We like Bo Nix. We did.
It's so
Unfortunately, now that he's with the Broncos, but
Sutton has to be his number 1 receiver has to be better. He has to be more for his rookie guy, for his rookie.
Yep. Next game up, we had the Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. The Cowboys did win that game 33-17.
The defense won the game for them. If you look at the stats,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson and honestly, Dak had pretty much the same stats,
Yep.
pretty much the same incompletions.
Yep.
And Deshaun was playing behind a second-string offensive line because both his dudes
Both of his
got
tackles
hurt.
were gone, so...
But again, the Cowboys won it, and the Cowboys defense is elite, which will keep
Yeah.
them in most games. throughout
If
the
Micah
season.
Parsons wasn't getting there, Lawrence was right there getting you. So that defense is going to be something to watch out for
Which
Dallas.
will keep them obviously in all the games throughout the regular season.
Yep.
But when it matters most, will Dak be there for 60 mil?
We'll see. Next game up, we had the Commanders and Buccaneers. The Buccaneers did win that game 37-20, but Jalen Daniels did have a little bit of critique coming from Dan Quinn, his head coach, saying that he would like him to be more of a pocket passer and not running the football first. He did
ran
have
a lot.
He did.
Not in see the game. I don't know if the offensive line broke down or if he just had problems getting through his reads, but he ran a lot. But he is a mobile quarterback.
He is.
But again, if you started Baker in your fantasy league, you happy.
The Buccaneers, they're gonna be not a, I wouldn't say a threat, but they're gonna be there. They're a veteran, well-seasoned, oiled team. They're gonna be there.
Probably
So
like a wild card fringe team. Probably.
Yep. Next game up, we had the Rams and Lions, and
Overtime
this
game.
game right here,
Overtime.
wow, went to overtime. Lions ended up getting the victory. Finally had a breakout from Williams,
Yep.
their first-round pick from a couple years ago, who came out of Alabama. Woo! If you had him in your
man.
fantasy,
He was on my bench.
He was
But
sad.
He was on my bench.
But Lions looked good for the most part. St. Brown didn't have a great game, but Williams was
Defense looked good. I think the Lions got a little too tricky. They're more of a ground and pound. Gibbs needs to be ground and pound. Montgomery needs to get in there, ground and pound it, and then kind of open it up in the play action, which
Yep.
is where Goff feeds.
And then the Monday night game, we had the New York Jets and the San Francisco 49ers. And yes, Aaron Rodgers did make it more than 4 plays, but
Hey,
it was
good.
32-19. The Jets got that ass whipped. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. The Jets,
Well, I mean, the 49ers are the best team.
Their defense-
coming into this year. The 49ers won the Super Bowl last year. supposed to be the best team this year. Their defense showed it. The Brock Purdy in that offense without McCaffrey showed it. Brandon Ayuk had a couple.
James
of drops.
Madison was a star player for the 49ers.
You know, any running back can look really good behind that stud O-line. And the Jets haven't really had all those pieces together. Rodgers has been there. So, honestly, the Jets look decently offensively for week 1. And the Niners look like they're kind of in top peak form for even missing their pieces for most of the offseason.
Yep. Right now, Thursday Night Football is happening between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. We're going to go down week 2, and we're going to give our picks, each of us. Obviously, the Bills and Dolphins are playing right now. I already have the Bills picked to win this game. Who do you have?
I've got the Bills.
Right now, currently, at this moment, the Bills are winning 7-0. So, have to say to that game. We have Raiders and Ravens. I think we're both
probably on Ravens.
Ravens. Chargers, Panthers.
Well, obviously Panthers, right?
No, Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Now we have Saints, Cowboys. I have Saints.
I got Cowboys.
I'm going Saints.
The Cowboys.
Fuck the Cowboys.
Well, fuck the Cowboys, but the Cowboys just have that defense.
Here's a good game. Buccaneers, Lions. I have Lions.
Good game, but if the Lions ground and pound, it will be the Lions.
Colts, Packers.
Well, quickly on the Bucs and Lions game.
Yeah, go for it.
It's just such a Browns thing for Deshaun Watson for the Texans to go to the Browns and look how he looks, and Baker to leave the Browns
and look how he looked.
2 teams
and then
end up on Tampa.
Got paid, got some security,
and
he's looking good.
He earned it. He had to earn it, but he bounced on 2 teams,
and he's looked good. Shout out to Baker, man.
And then Baker looked good. Honestly, Baker, Mike Evans. That's a strong duo. So shout out to him is what I want to give.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Colts, Packers.
No Jordan Love.
Colts.
AR
Colts. I agree with you. We got Browns and Jags. Honestly, I picked the Browns. I'm not going. I think the Browns can have a bounce back year or a bounce back game. Sorry, bounce back game. Who do you got in that game?
Jacksonville.
At Jacksonville.
At noon. That's a tough one. I think honestly, I'll probably go Jags. I think they have a little bit. I think Trevor Lawrence is a little bit better. The running game a little bit better with no Nick Chubb.
49ers, Vikings. I have the 49ers winning.
Niners, Sam Darnold
had a great game, but it was the Giants.
It's the Giants.
It's the Giants.
I mean, even the Vikings defense felt bad. When the opposing defense feels bad for you, dude, I'd cry.
Not good.
I'd probably cry.
Now here's an interesting game. We got Seahawks, Patriots. I have Seahawks winning.
Give me Patriots.
Woo! I'm not mad at that.
Patriots at home, how they're rolling off of beating the Bengals. Give me the Patriots for sure.
We got Jets, Titans. I think I'm going to go Jets. I think they're going to have a bounce back game.
It's the Titans. Titans defense looked really good, but no offense, obviously. So give me the Jets.
And then we got Giants, Commanders. Obviously, Commanders.
That's not really an obvious pick. But I think Jalen Daniels gets his first win as an NFL.
And then we got Rams, Cardinals. I'm gonna go with the Rams, even though they got offensive line injuries. I just think that they're more. I just think they're a better overall team.
I like the Rams too. So, Matthew Stafford's better than Kyler Murray. Kupp is going to get his touches.
Now,
Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
And that defense for the Rams looked pretty good for the first time ever without Aaron Donald.
Yes.
So I like the Rams.
And then we got Steelers and Broncos. Now they're at Denver.
Pretty good defense.
Russell Wilson will look like not going to be the starter. Returning back to Denver, unfortunately. So Justin Fields will probably be the starter. Who you got in that game? Steelers, Broncos.
Give me Steelers. I think
that defense is too much.
Well, the Broncos bring a good defense too, but I think the Broncos are bringing in not the Broncos. Sorry, the Steelers are bringing in a better offense, top to bottom.
And then we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus our Kansas City Chiefs.
Got to bingle it out, right?
Burrowhead coming to town. Take Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, baby, all day. Here's Sunday Night Football. Bears, Texans.
I am so intrigued by this.
The fact that people are disrespecting this motherfucking game right here is ridiculous. Number 1 overall pick versus C.J. Stroud. Caleb Williams has measured himself to C.J. Stroud, saying he wants to have a rookie season like him. I think this is going to be a good game. I'm taking Houston,
I don't
obviously.
think people quite understand that Caleb Williams has came into the best situation a first
ever
pick has ever came into in recent memory in the past probably like 30 years of our lives has came into with that defense, with a better offensive line than Justin Fields had. Come into the Texans, and the expectation for the Texans is humongous. It's playoffs, it's division. It's
like
winning the
you
division.
almost feel bad that Fields didn't get an opportunity to go with his
all
team.
those weapons that they have.
I just kind of feel bad, but
and honestly, Caleb probably should have had one touchdown. Keenan Allen dropped it.
but I'm taking Houston.
I'm here to really watch that, but I got the Texans too.
And then
I think the Texans. Honestly, I think the Texans.
do you think it's close?
No, I think they dominate.
You think?
I think they dominate. Oh boy, I think they wax. I think Caleb.
Will Caleb Williams have 100 yards passing? That was the question.
No, he cries. I think you see Caleb Williams cry with his bare fingernails.
Okay. And then Monday Night Football is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
You
and
said it's Monday at noon, right? It's not prime time.
well, somebody better tell Kirk.
It's not prime time.
This is not prime time.
It's not prime time.
I have the Eagles. I think the Falcons are going to start 0-2,
I think the
unfortunately.
Eagles too. Just don't tell.
But if you tell Kirk Cousins it's not Monday Night Football, it's not prime time at 7 o'clock at night,
you might have a chance.
Might
but
have
I
a
think-
chance.
I think the Eagles honestly might mollywop them potentially.
But those are your week 2 matchups. Let us know who you got in those matchups. Be very curious what you guys got. And yeah, that's week 2. There's a lot of games I'm looking forward to. And overall, like football's back, man. Like football is back. I'm
Finally.
here for it.
Full swing.
Full swing.
Like we said, we got Thursday Night Football going on
right now. It is currently still 7-0 Buffalo Bills. But yeah, like I said, we apologize for not being able to be with you guys last week. Like I said, technical difficulties. Blame Brandon. It's not my fault. I tried. I don't know what to do. But make sure to tune into us next week. We'll be talking about the week 2 matchups, and then we'll go into week 3. Stay tuned to us because we got a lot more football and stuff to talk about as the year goes on. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you guys have a great weekend.